Now listen. Last class we were discussing about the energy conservation theorem, right? So it states when the system is subjected to conservative forces, then the total mechanical energy of the system is always a constant. Then I tried to derive and show you for a simple case. So but the point I want you to remember is, you need to say that the total energy at every point throughout the journey of the particle is always a constant. So when the particle, let's say it is thrown from the bottommost point, it is traveling through 3 points A, B, and C. Then we are going to prove that the total energy at A is equal to the total energy at B is equal to the total energy at C. So when we say total energy, it speaks about kinetic and the potential energy, right? Now tell me one thing, what is the potential energy of the particle at point A?
0, sir.
0, sir.
Reason?
No force, external forces, like there's no. It is
There,
at rest, sir.
there is no displacement. Okay.
H is 0.
But
sir.
see, when I say potential energy, the first thing, even before you answer, the first thing you need to answer is what is the reference line. So with respect to the reference line being taken, with respect to the ground as a reference line, you can say that the potential energy is 0. So if you take the ground as a reference line, potential energy is 0 because its displacement is 0. So what is the only energy it possesses at point A? It has only kinetic energy. That's what I wrote it as half mu square. Okay. Let's say that the total energy is 5 joule. Then what will happen is when the object has gone from A to B, at B, what are all the energies it possesses? See, B is slightly a complicated point. Let's discuss about C. At point C, what are all the energy it has?
Only potential energy.
So, because it has reached the maximum height. At maximum height, what is the velocity?
0.
Instantaneous velocity is 0. So at max, only potential energy associated with it. So with respect to the ground, it has traveled a distance of h. So mgh will be the potential energy plus 0 kinetic energy. It will be mgh. So what I explained in the previous class is, if half mu square mathematically as 5 joules, then mg into this total height h will also give you the same 5 joule. That is the meaning of energy conservation. So when we say energy conservation, the total energy at every point is supposed to be the same. So that's what we proved, total energy at A is equal to total energy at C. Now what is happening at point B? At point B, it has a non-zero potential energy and a non-zero kinetic energy. But what is the non-zero potential energy it has? For that, we need to take a certain height. If I take the height as h dash, the non-zero potential energy it has is mg into h dash plus half m into v square, where v is what? Well,
Your voice is breaking, sir.
okay. So I'm saying vb
Sir, can you repeat?
velocity, v is the velocity. I'm saying it has mg h dash plus half mv square, where v is the velocity of the particle at point B. So you're defining the kinetic energy at point B. Got it? So mg into h dash plus half mvp square, we are going to find what is the value of vb square. So for vb square, we are going to apply, just give me a minute. I hope it is clear now. So we have mg h dash as the potential energy, kinetic energy as half mvp square. So find the value of vb square. Vb square minus u square is equal to 2 into minus g into h dash. Okay. So vb square is nothing but v square. V square is equal to u square minus 2g into h dash. If I take the fourth expression and substitute it in 3, then you can observe that mg h dash will get cancelled. It will be half mu square. But what is half mu square? Half mu square was the initial energy which was present at point A. So can I conclude that the total energy at A is equal to total energy at B also?
Sir, H dash is for which component, sir?
H dash is this height. So H dash is the height from the ground to the point B. Okay. So this is all about energy conservation. So what we are concluding from this is, when you're applying this energy conservation, you need to ensure that the system is under the conservative forces, and the sum of all the energies some of the mechanical energies at every point will be a constant if the object is moving under the influence of conservative force. Okay. So this is all about energy conservation. Is it clear till this step?
Yes, sir.
Now we will discuss about spring force and elastic potential energy. Write it down. Okay. Now listen. So you people have seen spring. You would have seen on your ballpoint pens also. Let us say there is a fixed wall to which there is a spring that is kept like this, to which a mass m is attached. Okay. Now tell me one thing. When you try to apply an external force in the rightward direction, when you try to pull the block, what will happen to the spring in this case?
Spring will try to pull the block towards it.
So first thing, spring will get elongated, right? So when the spring is getting elongated, what do I mean by elongated? Elongated means the distance between the consecutive windings is going to increase. Meaning the distance between these 2 points, if it is say like x units, the distance between the same 2 windings will be greater than x units. That is what I mean by elongation. If it is less than x units, it is compression. So since you are applying a pulling force, it will get elongated. So when the spring is getting elongated, what will it try to do? The spring has a property to restore itself. Restore in the sense, it wants to come back to its original position. Means if you're trying to expand the spring, what will the spring try to do on you? It will try to compress itself. If at all you try to compress a spring, what will happen to it? It will try to expand itself. Right? So when this is happening, if you try to draw a free body diagram on the spring, can I say that the same external force is going to act on this, because this mass is only acting like a medium. So the same external force is going to act on it. Then the spring will try to restore itself with a restoring force F REST. REST means restoring, or you can write it as completely only F restoring. I'll write it again. Listen. The force which is restoring in nature. Accepted? Now the question is about this F restoring. How is it related to the extent to which it has got elongated or compressed? Okay. So it was practically observed that the restoring force is directly proportional to the elongation or compression in the spring. Or to put it in simple terms, I can call it as change in length of the spring. You're able to understand this point? So what I'm trying to say is, listen to this carefully. Let's say its initial length is L. After getting elongated, if I try to observe it, then if I say its final length is L plus X, okay, then what is the elongation that has occurred in this particular scenario? Then the elongation that has happened in the object is X.
Can I say again, sir? Actually, yeah. Can I say again, sir?
Which one?
This point, sir. What you said now, sir? After that free story.
So after if I wrote it here. See, F restoring is directly proportional to
Sir,
compression
after
or listen to it. So if I say the initial length is L and the final length after elongation is L plus X. Now I'm asking what is the elongation that has taken place? The elongation that has taken place is X because that is the extra length that is getting added to the original length. Okay. If I ask you what is the change in length of the spring, change in length is final minus initial. Final length is L plus X minus initial length is L. This and this will get cancelled X. So the restoring force mathematically will be equal to what? Is directly proportional to the amount of elongation or compression that has happened. Is it clear till this step?
Yes, sir.
Now, if you remove the proportionality symbol, there should be a constant that is introduced. The constant that is introduced is K into X, and there will be a negative sign. I'll tell you why there is a negative sign. Here, the negative sign indicates, okay, listen to it. Negative sign indicates the force is trying to act in opposite direction of applied external force. Okay, indicates the force is trying to act in opposite direction of applied external force, and K stands for what? K stands for a parameter called as spring
Spring
constant.
constant.
Yeah. So this F restoring is given by the expression minus K into X. So this is the formula that we are going to use to solve all the problems. Okay, please make a note of it.
Sir,
Yeah, tell me.
this constant has a value, no, sir?
Yes, that is found out experimentally. We need not worry about it.
Okay, sir.
Can I scroll up?
So till now, whatever I spoke is only about spring force. I didn't speak about elastic potential energy.
Sir, will you give few examples on spring force, sir?
You have seen what is a spring balance? You would have used it, right? Have you seen a spring balance in your physics lab?
Yes, sir. In physics level.
Yes, sir.
When you suspend a mass, what will happen? Inside, why is it called a spring balance? Because you have a spring inside. As simple as that, right? When you suspend a mass, what will happen to it? Mg will come down. Due to Mg, it will act in the downward direction. You can observe that the spring will get elongated. So when it is getting elongated, what will happen to it? The spring will come and stop at a particular reading on the spring balance. So if you see one side of the spring balance, you will have force, and the other side you will have mass. Let's say the force is 10 Newton and the corresponding mass will be 1 kilogram. Right? So here also what is happening is the spring is getting elongated and there is a restoring force acting within itself. That is one such example. Or the other is, if any one of you using a ball pen, especially the one where you can click, the click ball pens. So you would have seen a spring inside, right? You keep that spring on the table. Okay, you keep the spring on the table, try to apply a force on top and remove your hand. What will happen to it? I'm sure you all would have experienced
Go,
it.
sir. It will go out.
It will bounce, right? It is bouncing back. Why is it happening? because when you try to compress it, you're doing the work on the spring. And once you remove your hand, so when you do some work on the spring, there will be some energy that is getting stored in the spring. So the spring will try to release its energy and come back to its original position. In the process of releasing, it undergoes the process of jumping, the bouncing part. Okay. So all these things are related only to the concept of restoring force. I hope it is clear.
Yes, sir.
So shall I move on to the next part? That is the elastic potential energy. Now listen. See, I'm going to give you an idea, and I'm not just going to teach you the derivation. I'm going to tell you how to think when you see the word energy, because you will be using this word throughout your physics. So what do you mean by energy? If you look at the basic of energy, it says it is a capacity to do work.
To do work.
What is the meaning of? See, that is a technical definition, right? The textbook gives you as capacity to do work. What is the exact meaning of it? Okay. If you go on a real-time basis, the fact that you need to understand is whenever you do any kind of work, that work will always get stored in some form of energy. Okay. So you do some work on the system, or the system is doing work on you. It will always get stored in one form of energy, and there will always be a conversion that is taking place. Okay. So if that energy, if the work done is due to the concept of potential, I told you what is potential. So wherever you see potential energy, it is related to what? Position, shape, and configuration of the system. I have explained this already in the case of gravitational potential energy. Right? I hope you understood both the meanings. You understood what is energy. So if to the energy there is a prefix like potential energy, then that particular energy is related to position, shape, and configuration. Then what exactly do you mean by elastic? So the concept of elastic is coming from the property of restoring. You're able to understand this? So if you're talking about the potential energy of an object which has the tendency to restore itself, restore in the sense when you try to disturb its original configuration, the object will try to come back to its original configuration. Okay. If at all you're speaking about the potential energy of an object which has a restoring force associated with it, then that particular energy is called as elastic potential energy. Here we are trying to speak about which object? So here we are trying to speak about the object called spring, because spring has restoring force. Can you give me another example which has restoring force in it?
Rubber band, sir.
You can think of a rubber band. Right? So when you talk about the energy that is stored
Anything,
in rubber
sir.
band,
Plastic, rubber band, anything, sir.
anything for that matter. See, every object in this world will definitely have some elastic property associated with it, right? Generally, when we call it as solids, they are not completely ideal. They still can get compressed, maybe on a microscopic level, which we cannot see. Okay, but for better understanding, what we can do is this elastic objects. Here, we are trying to be concerned about the spring. And when we discuss completely about elastic properties, then like in the 10th chapter, 9th chapter, that time we'll be speaking about the same elastic potential energy for a different material. But I hope you understood what is the meaning of potential energy,
Sir,
especially
can I say
elastic.
that simple pendulum, sir?
No, simple pendulum is not elastic. It is
Sir, but
oscillating. It's not
restoring
like
force,
elastic. Where is restore? You cannot call
Sir.
it as elastic. It will only have gravitational potential. Restoring in the sense, it is not. I'm not talking about the position. I'm talking about the configuration. When you take a simple pendulum, it is coming back to its original position. This is called as restoring force only. I accept it. But here, what is happening? It's restoring its position. But here, I'm talking about restoring the configuration.
Okay, sir.
Sir,
Okay.
isn't it that after a certain point of, like if you after a certain point of energy you give on the rubber band, it will snap, no sir?
It will break.
So
Yeah.
for
That we will discuss later. That there is something. There are certain factors because the material will start entering to the region of plastic, so it will lose its elastic property. That we will discuss at that point. Okay. There is a separate chapter for it. But in this context, we are concerned only about spring. I just wanted to give you an outline. Okay, let's come back to spring. Okay, so throughout physics, wherever you see energy, you always need to define work. Now, tell me one thing. If I have an object, if I have a spring, there is an external force acting on the object, and there is a restoring force acting on the spring. Accepted?
Yes, sir.
So there is a restoring force minus kx. That is how minus indicates it's a restoring force. We understand from that. Now the question is, what is the work done by the spring to come back to its original position? So this is the question we have in our mind. And if you answer this, and if you're able to calculate the amount of work done, then that work done will give you the amount of elastic potential energy in the spring. Okay. Now we are going to calculate the work done by the spring to come back to its original position. Now we are going to revisit the basic of work done. I told you there are two types of work done. One is work done by constant force, and the second is work done by variable force. So when you talk about constant force, you write it as Fs cos theta. When you talk about variable force, you write it as integral of f dx. Right? F dx from x1 to x2. Accepted?
Yes, sir.
Now, tell me, what is the work done by the spring? Is it going to be a constant value? Is it going to be due to a constant force or a variable force?
Variable force.
Variable, sir.
How did you say it is variable?
Because the different force acts around it.
Why? That's what.
Sir,
What
it
made you
depends
conclude?
on for external force we apply now, sir. So we
No.
can change.
When did I say the force is variable? Force mathematically should be a function of whom? Force should be a function of displacement. Force should be a function of displacement. Look at the restoring force. Is it a constant value or a function of displacement?
function of displacement.
Function of displacement.
Function of displacement because it depends on x. Right? So since it is a variable force, we are going to write like this. Work done by spring is equal to integral of, observe, integral of f is how much? Minus kx into dx. Accepted? So
Yes.
let's say the maximum expansion in the spring is x max. And when it comes back to its original position, the expansion will be 0. So I'm writing it. X max stands for maximum expansion, and 0 stands for complete restoring. Is that clear? So it is from x max to 0. When I take the minus sign outside or minus k outside, integral of x dx from x max to 0 is how much? Minus k into x square divided by 2 between x max to 0. So that will be minus k into 0 by 2 minus x max square divided by 2. You're able to understand what I did?
Yes, sir.
So what did I calculate? I calculated the work done by the spring to come back to its original position. And what is the final value we got? Half into k x max square. Okay. Okay, this work done is the amount of potential energy released by the spring to come back to its original position. Is there any doubt, guys?
No, sir.
Right? Okay. So I see. Listen to my words very carefully because I'm talking about the energy released and the energy within itself. So potential energy released by the spring to come back to its original position is half into k into x max square. Then what would have been the potential energy stored in the spring? The potential energy stored in the spring would have been minus half into k x max square. Why am I saying it as minus? Because there are only two things. One is storing and the other is releasing. So if it is releasing a positive value, then it would have stored a negative value. And the vice versa. Are you guys able to understand this point?
Yes, sir.
Yes? Yes. So I'm trying to be very careful here because this is going to be the formula for the potential energy, the elastic potential energy of a spring. Okay, it is not a common elastic potential energy. It is only an elastic potential energy for whom? For a spring. Right. So I hope you all made a note of it. Okay. See, till now I gave you only the mathematical derivation. Now, if there is a question like define elastic potential energy of a spring, how will you define it?
Energy required for the spring to come back to its initial position.
No, see, wherever you define about energy, you should always speak about work done only. Okay, write down the definition. Now, tell me one thing. You people tell me this logically. Okay, you people think and tell. So, I'm saying there is a value of potential energy stored in the spring. If something has to get stored, someone has to give. Right? If you have to store something, someone has to give. Right? Who is giving this energy to the spring? So you can ask this question: is the spring producing this energy by itself, or is there some external agent that is giving this energy to it? Tell me one thing: is it happening within the spring, or is this energy? See, I'm talking about the energy that is getting stored. Is this energy coming from the spring, or is this the energy given by some external agent?
So logically, it should be given by some external agents.
It's the external agent. That's right. So that is why, if you look at the definition, I'm going to give it in terms of external agent. Write it down. So the heading is elastic potential energy of a spring definition. Okay. It is the amount of work done it is the amount of work done by an external agent it is the amount of work done by an external agent to restore the spring is the amount of work done by an external agent to restore the spring from the initial to the final position.
Can you say again, sir?
It is the amount of work done by the external agent to restore the spring from initial to final position. Okay, so this is what is going to happen. Now, we will do some problems which are based on this. Now listen. So there is a potential energy of the spring. That's what we saw. So it is minus k. So you're able to see this value minus k into xm square divided by 2. Now we'll do this problem. Okay. We'll do example 6.9. Consider example 6.7. Where is 6.7? Example 6.7, there is no coefficient. Is anyone having textbook? Okay. First, let's do 6.8. So I hope you're able to see the question, right?
Yes, sir.
See, listen. To simulate, you know the meaning of simulation, right? Everybody knows simulation. So simulation means it's an automated technique. It's an automation. So doing something using the automation process is called as simulation. So to simulate car accidents, auto manufacturers study the collision of moving cars with mounted springs of different spring constants. Okay. Consider a typical simulation with a car of mass 1000 kg moving with a speed of 18 km per hour on a smooth road and colliding with horizontally mounted spring of spring constant 6.25 into 10 power 3 Newton per meter. What is the maximum compression in the spring? Okay.
Can you explain this question, sir?
There is nothing to explain. Wait, I'll do this. Listen. So, to simulate car accidents, what they do is, let's say there is a spring which is kept at this point. Okay. And how much is the spring constant they are given? It is 6.25 into 10 power 3 Newton per meter. Okay. So there is a car which is moving towards whom? There is a car which is moving towards a spring and it is colliding. See, consider a typical simulation, means some automation technique. There's all these things are happening within a software. So consider a typical simulation with a car of mass 1000 kg. So the mass of the car is 1000 kg, moving with a speed of 18 km per hour, which is nothing but 5 meters per second on a smooth road and colliding with horizontally mounted spring. Then they're asking what is the maximum compression that will take place in the spring. So how to do this? So logically think what will happen to the car. Okay, let's try to analyze. No, sir. See, once the car strikes the spring, what will happen to it? What will happen to the spring? The spring will start getting compressed, and there will be a particular scenario after which the car will get completely stopped. Why is it happening? That is purely happening because the spring would have got compressed in such a way that the windings will be so close to each other that no more compression is possible beyond this. Okay, that is what is called as maximum compression. Are you guys able to visualize till this point?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Now listen. So how to read this question is where they have told on a smooth road. When they say smooth road, there is no friction. Okay. So when there is no friction, the whole system is acting under the influence of conservative forces. Please make a note of it. When there are no resistive forces acting on the system, then energy is said to be conserved. Okay, so please make a note of it. Now tell me, if this is point A and this is point B. Before striking the spring, what was the total energy present in the spring? So that is before collision, what was the total energy of the system? So when I say system, how many objects are there in the system?
Two objects.
Yes, that's right. What are the two objects? What are the two objects that are present in
Spring
the
and
system?
car.
The car and the spring, that's right. So initially before collision, what is car doing? Car is moving. So car has mass and velocity. So what will be the energy it will be having?
Sir, can I say what is TE, sir?
Total energy. So total energy of the, see, I'm asking a direct question. Car has mass and velocity. What is the type of energy you are going to define?
Kinetic energy.
Kinetic energy.
Yes. The kinetic energy of the car plus the spring, the only energy possible for a spring is elastic potential energy. Right. In this scenario, that is before collision, will the spring have any elastic potential energy within itself?
No.
No, sir.
Plus, that's it.
Zero.
So it is only kinetic energy of the car plus, I'll write it for understanding purpose, zero potential energy of spring because it is completely in its rest state. So after collision, what is the total energy present? After collision, what is happening to the car? When the maximum compression takes place, what is happening to the car? Is the car able to move further?
No, sir. It will be zero.
Right.
Now this
kinetic energy.
time the car is at rest and spring is at
Zero.
maximum.
Yes. Plus, can I say potential energy of spring? Now, are you guys able to understand what is the meaning of energy conservation? You're trying to say energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, but it can be converted from one form to another. Here, what kind of conversions are taking place? The kinetic energy of the car is getting converted to the potential energy of the spring. This is the meaning of energy conversions that are taking place. So, since forces are conservative in nature, how did I conclude it is conservative? Because there are no resistive forces. The total energy of the system initially is equal to the total energy final. So what is the initial total energy? That is kinetic energy of car is equal to the potential energy of spring. So what is the kinetic energy of car? Half mu square is equal to potential energy of the spring is half k x max square. Is that clear? So half and half is gone. M is how much? 1000 into u square. What is the initial velocity? It had 5 meters. So
5
5 square is equal to 6.25 into 10 power 3 into x max square. So 10 into 10 square into 5 square divided by 6.25 into 10 power 3 is equal to x max square. Okay, I'm cancelling 110. Observe how I'm going to solve 10 square. So x max is equal to, I'm taking square root on both the sides. Square root of 10 square, 10. Square root of 5 square, 5 divided by square root of 6.25.
2.5.
It is
0.5.
2.5.
0.2.
It is 2.5. It is 2.5 into 10. So you will get it as this and this will get
No,
cancelled.
sir.
So 0.5 meter. That is going to be the compression that will take place in the spring in this scenario. Let's verify whether the answer
It's
is
2
right. Or not.
only, no, sir.
Is it 2?
5 by
Yes, sir. 2,
2.5.
sir.
Where is it 2?
No, sir. 5 by 2.5 should be 2, no, sir.
5 by 2.5 is 1 by 0.5. Yeah, it is 2. Sorry. So 1. So what is the answer given? So it is 2 meters. But I hope you guys understood what is the physics behind this problem. Right?
Yes, sir.
So make a note of it. Okay. Shall we proceed to the next problem? We will do example 6.9. Mark that also as important problem. So actually, they told consider example 6.7. No, actually it is 6.8. Consider example 6.8. Taking the coefficient of friction mu to be 0.5, calculate the maximum compression of the spring. So what was the difference between previous question and this one? The previous question, there was no frictional force, means there was no resistive force, means there was no non-conservative force. Right? I hope this is clear till that point.
Yes, sir.
Now, whereas what is happening in this problem? Since there is non-conservative force acting, will we be able to apply energy conservation theorem in this case?
Logically, no, sir.
It is no, because what does energy conservation state? It states that when the system is subjected to conservative forces, the total energy is said to be conserved. Right? Whereas here, there is a frictional force acting. Right? So we cannot apply energy conservation. Then how are we going to solve this problem? Is energy conservation the only theorem there in this chapter? I told you there is another theorem. What is it?
Work energy theorem.
Work energy theorem.
It is called work energy theorem. So what does work energy theorem state? The sum of work done by all the forces in the system. When I use the word all the forces can be conservative or non-conservative. I'm repeating it. The sum of work done by all the forces in the system is equal to change in what energy?
Kinetic energy.
Very good. So the sum of work done by all the forces is always equal to the change in kinetic energy. So I want to stress on one important point. Please make a note of it. This is where people do mistake. This, whatever I'm saying, is again applicable throughout physics. So whenever there are non-conservative forces acting on the system, we can apply only work energy theorem. Whereas when the system is acting under the influence of conservative forces,
Can you say, sir, again, sir?
Sir, can
When
you
a sys-
repeat?
write it down. When a system is subjected to non-conservative forces, we can apply only work energy theorem to solve the problem. Whereas when a system is subjected to conservative forces, we can apply both energy conservation and work energy theorem. So in the bracket, make a note. Work energy theorem is universal, means it can be applied in both the scenario. Or you can say it like this: work energy theorem can be applied in both the scenarios. But I hope you understood, right? Energy conservation is only when there are conservative forces. Whereas work energy theorem, whether you have conservative or non-conservative, you can still apply it. And one last important point is, when energy conservation theorem is applied, there is no sign used in the expression, sign, SIGN. There is no sign used in the expression. Whereas when we apply work energy theorem, sign has to be assigned to all the works done. Okay. Now let's think. So where is the diagram? I'll show it there itself. So as I told you, since we are going to apply work energy theorem here, observe what is going to happen. When the car is moving in this direction, the restoring force will act in the rightward direction. Right? Frictional force will also act in the rightward direction. Then there is normal force acting on the car and there is weight acting in the downward direction. Accepted till this point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now tell me, what is the work done by the spring? So work done by the spring is minus half into K into X max square. Correct? Why did I use a minus sign here? You remember in the derivation I told you there is a minus sign. So work done by the spring is this value. Similarly, what is the work done by frictional force? What is the work done by the frictional force? it is mu mg into the displacement, that is x max, into cos of how much is the angle between frictional force and displacement. Spring is getting compressed in this direction, friction is in the, it is 180.
180.
It is minus mu mg into x max. So how many forces are actually there on the system? Spring force, frictional force, normal, and mg. So totally how many work done are expected? The number of forces in the system is equal to the number of works done. Okay. So one work done you wrote because of spring, one work done you wrote due to frictional force. What about the other two works done? Work done by normal and work done by mg.
They balance each other out.
They are zero because normal force is upwards and the displacement is perpendicular to it. Similarly, mg and the displacement are perpendicular. So work done by normal and work done by mg will be zero. Then what did I say work energy theorem is? Work energy theorem states work done, the total work done by all the forces is equal to, so I'm writing it down, see, work done by spring plus work done by friction plus work done by normal plus work done by mg. So work done by normal is 0, work done by mg is 0. So what is the work done by spring? Minus half into k xm square. Work done by friction is minus mu mg into xm. Is there any doubt till this step?
No, sir.
Yes. So this is the total work done on the system. This work done should be equal to what? So W total according to work energy theorem should be equal to change in kinetic energy. So what is the change in kinetic energy that is going to take place? So can you tell me what is delta KE? Delta K is final minus initial. Accepted? So
Yes.
what is the final kinetic energy? What is happening to the spring? I mean, what is happening to the car? Is it still able to move after maximum compression?
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
No, so it is 0. Minus what would have been its initial kinetic energy? Initial kinetic energy is just before it started compressing the spring. That is half mu square. You're able to understand this point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So what am I supposed to do? Equate the work done to kinetic energy. You can observe all the minus signs will get cancelled. You will get a quadratic equation in xm. Find the value of xm. That's the required answer.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So that calculation part I'm leaving it to you, but try to write it neatly. I've written here and there. Please make a clear note of it because this is an important problem. Is it clear, guys? So I hope you got clarity about when to apply work energy and when to apply energy conservation.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is all about the spring energy. So I would not suggest you to go through all these things. Some terminologies used in textbook might be complicated. If you make a note of what I've explained, that's enough. Okay. So then the only concept that we are left out with is, oh, there are two concepts that are left out. One is this vertical circular motion. Where is it? This one. Actually, there is a concept, okay? They have given it as a problem. This is very, very important. This concept is called as vertical circular motion. If you observe, in 3 chapters, we would have discussed about circular motion. One is motion in a plane. There we called it as uniform circular motion because that was the first time we saw something called as centripetal acceleration. In the previous chapter, we saw that a car was revolving on a horizontal road. That is horizontal circular motion. Here, what is happening? It is vertical circular motion. So this is one concept where we are going to apply energy conservation and Newton's laws. And the last concept that is left out in this chapter is collisions. And of course, work, energy, and power. No, power is a very small definition that we can complete. Not an issue. So maximum two more classes we'll be completing this chapter also. So I suggest you practice this well.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So that's all from my side for today. We'll wind up with this. We'll see you in tomorrow's class.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So one
Thank you,
minute,
sir.
1 minute. Don't leave. Wait. So you have holidays only, right? This week?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
For everyone.
Government. For
Yeah,
everyone.
that's it. Yeah. For everyone, it's a holiday, right? So we will have morning sessions. We'll have I'll inform the time. We'll have it from I think 9:30 to 11. I'll have this. Yeah, we can have it from 10:30 to 11:30
It's an
for the
evening
next
class.
course.
Morning and evening, sir.
No, only morning. Instead
Morning
of
and
evening,
evening.
only morning. Instead of evening, we'll have it in morning. Is what I'm saying.
Only physics
So,
class, sir.
no, you will have maths also.
Okay.
Maths, I will tell in maths class. So physics class will be from 10:30 to 11:30 for tomorrow and day after tomorrow.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. See you all. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.